Hello, Sassy Sarah. I love you. Hello, Melissa. What's going on? I'm listening. I've been listening to Constant Sue. She got Mama T up and people that Mama T owes money to. It's funny as shit. But I digress.
In like a cool way.
But I digress. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday night. My allergies are rolling. I love hibiscuses. I have a hibiscus on my car. Hey, my little Halloween baby, are you listening to Constance? Constance has got D-Boss, Life's a Dance, and friggin' Mama T up there. Hey, Daphne. Hello, Clancy, my love. Welcome for 4 months state of disorder. I'm glad you're feeling well enough to be here. Hi, Sober Pig. Hi, Peas. Ziggles. Hello. Hello, Ziggles. I think Ziggles, our girl's not having a good day all of a sudden. I think our girl's not having a good day. There's Luke. Hi, Luke. See, you've been here. It's so funny. I should play it, but Hey, Rain Girl. I don't want to play it because this is a non-drama stream, but damn, it's funny. Hey, Quinny. Thank you, Quinny. My shirt is a little bit too big. Oh, you ever would go lay down, baby? Well, yeah, this case is real weird. It's real weird. Like I said, I think I said it today earlier. If I say something weird, have a pencil and a piece of paper and write it down. Because I'm going to pause every once in a while to go, anybody hear anything weird? And you will have heard something weird, trust and believe. I only did a little bit of research. Sour girl, thank you. Thank you. When I say I only did a little bit of research, shit. If I forget 3/4 of this information, we'll still have a full show, but I'm not going to forget it. I've been living this thing for you because it's like Ziggy said, you just dig and dig. It's a lot of stuff from 1932 through 1936. So we'll get started. We'll get to let people get their tea. Let me give you the okay. Hey, Deborah. So here's what we're going to do. Like next week is going to be ancient Egypt. Just all the mysteries. Welcome for 9 months, Fairy Meadows. Thank you. So we're going to do Nefertiti, Tut. We have to do Tut. We've got to do the curse of Tut. We're going to do Cleopatra because her tomb has not been found. With King Tut, a lot of people thought that Nefertiti was his mother, but she wasn't. And then we're going to do the Rosetta Stone. That's a stone that was found by Napoleon's army when they were digging trenches. And it was it's a huge rock. And it's got 3 different languages on it. And it's got the hieroglyphics up here, Greek, and then I forgot the other language. But it's the key. Nobody could read hieroglyphics until this was found. But we don't have it all. And nobody's ever found the rest of it. And it's a lot of hieroglyphics that are missing because they're at the top. So that's kind of interesting. So people didn't even know that there were curses on pyramids because no one could read hieroglyphics until the Rosetta Stone was found and deciphered because somebody had to decipher it. I think that was a French guy, but anyway. And then we'll roll up to, let's see, that'll take us, to Tut. We'll go in, if we go this way, all right, so Cleopatra will be last. Because, when before Christ, it was, they went forward. No, wait a minute. Backwards. So if something happened in 100 BC, 70 years later would be 30 BC. To them, they went to 1. Tut was the only one mummified with an erection. Tut was messed up. Tut had, hey Ryan, Tut had some issues, physical issues. We're going to look at his face. The way, and I'm sure y'all have all seen it before. I'm not, obviously I'm not, y'all haven't just, hey phobic, you haven't just heard of it. Oh, well, thank you. It's too light. Do you think so? Oh, it is too light. Hold on. I'll tell you why it's too light. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, fuck. I don't know why people get me confused. No, it is way too. Now I'm going to worry about that. Anyway, like I was saying, we didn't. Shit. I just took a screenshot of you. I hate these buttons. Nope, wrong one. So it's gotta be this one. Sorry, guys. All right, there we go. Oh, well, now it's really too long. But his face was, it was such a beautiful face on that sarcophagus, right? It's beautiful. It's big lips. It's beauty. Hey, Melissa. In real life, he had some, the inbreeding of ancient Egypt kind of ended with Tut. He was a mess. So, and then we'll get, like I said, go up to all the way up to that. All right. So then the week after that will be another paranormal Saturday night pajama party extravaganza. You don't wear pajamas, don't log on. Just kidding. Oh, the club foot, scoliosis. His whole fucking face was, he had one leg. He couldn't walk unaided. That's why in his, they put everything in a pyramid that you're going to need. He had 130 walking sticks. So, there were big things. He broke his leg, which he did break his leg. And that might probably be what killed him. But, yeah, it was no chariot accident unless one ran over him. Yeah, he was a goon. He was. And it's the weirdest thing. I'm having such a hard time with this in Egypt is because they would either change their name, right? A woman, especially a queen, would change her name. A man would change his name. They would throw a couple of Roman numerals behind it, or they would completely drop off. Hey, Carrie, Nefertiti completely dropped off the earth. No one knows where she is. No one knows where she could be. And she was an important goddess. So, and if people, I think with like even Cleopatra, we got a lot to talk about. I've learned so much. Right. They were gods. And they were gods. Walter and I imagine Jamie's like, everybody's coming with Jamie though next not this week, next week. I'm gonna try to stay a couple weeks ahead of everything because it's just easier for me. When I got, I was in jail last week, YouTube jail, not real jail. So I was ready to go. Thursday, boom, popped up. I'm in jail. I'll probably be back in jail. I ain't never been in jail in my life. YouTube jail. Then I write little things and I lay them over here because I don't want to forget them. So hold on. Let me get everybody. Everybody, we're going to get started here in just a second. The Toronto Maple Leafs are playing right now. Close game. It's actually a tied game. If Austin Matthews he's already got 69. If you make 70 goals, the house might erupt. Hey, Pink Stars, the house might erupt. We're big fans over here of hockey. Let me see if he's got one Marner, one Austin, one Robertson, and one Tavares. Okay, now I've got with my makeup too light. We'll throw it away as soon as I get off here. Oh, the inbreeding was absolutely nuts. Absolutely crazy. And here's the thing with Tut. I can say, smoke and pee. I smoke and pee. Go Leafs is right, sour girl. They couldn't tell, and they still, I don't think, can tell if Tutankhamun's wife, whose name I will never be able to pronounce, is really long, was his sister or half sister. That's how muddled this up. Like, we know she was a sister. We just don't know if it was a full sister, half sister. They still can't undo all that. You know. But you know, they did it in England too. They did all it. You know, I don't know. When people start showing, you know, babies start getting born with no noses, it's time to stop. Let's put this right here. All right. Does anybody know a lot about Charles Lindbergh? Because I'm trying to let y'all know how big of a star he was. And it's really hard to compare him to someone now, recent, you know? I mean, he was a star worldwide. He was a hero. He was, I mean, I can't even, I would think maybe if it was Prince William, maybe. I don't even know if that's it. I don't even know if it's that big. But he was. And he was because he, I think his dad was like a senator. And he wanted to fly, but he didn't have enough money. So he, you know, went into it's not really the army that he went into. It's some kind of special whatevers. And he learned how to fly. Okay. So at the time, there was a prize going where whoever went from America to Paris got this amount of money. And this money was dangling out there for a long time, and people died trying to do it, trying to go all the way over. He did like airmail. He delivered airmail. He was in the U.S. Air Force, but I don't think it's quite like it was the Air Army Services. I have it written down here. He would basically just go from Little Falls, Minnesota to Washington, D.C. to get the mail, then to go back. Whatever. It's a good gig if you can get it. His father was a very prominent congressman, and his name was Charles August Lindbergh. Our Charles is Charles Augustus Lindbergh, and his son Charlie Augustus Lindbergh. Like I said, that money stayed out there a long time, and a lot of people, hey, Min Mama, a lot of people tried and died. But somebody finally did it. Two men finally did it. They got their money, yay. Well, Charles, at 23, Charles Lindbergh, at 23, he was very handsome. Let's look at him. Let's look at his layers. He is very handsome. I mean, all right, hold on. Hold on, guys. I'm going to put myself down here. All right, let's see. So, I mean, look, that's a colorized photo. He's a pretty handsome guy. He's very tall, very shy, very unassuming, very weird. But him in the spirit of St. Louis there, he was decided he was going to go from New York to Paris alone, to do it the first time alone, solo, if you will. And he did. He did. At 23, when he landed in, look at this. This is him when he landed in Paris. That's the people that were jostling, just, hey, Max, just to see him, right? And he became the worldwide dreamboat dude. He was a little weird, though. From even 23, he was a big eugenics guy. All right. Eugenics is what Hitler believed in. A pure race, blue eyes, blonde hair, fair skin. To that was in Hitler's, that was his pure race. And the world wasn't going to survive unless it had this pure race. And funny enough, after he became famous, he went and took a tour of Germany and met Hitler. And they like, yeah, absolutely. Should absolutely have one, I'm not going to say one race, but made sure that he, the blonde hair, blue eyes. That's what everybody wanted. That's what that's going to save the world. So he had he was so famous that he had a real big problem with that. He didn't mind dinners and awards and the good stuff. He loved that. It was the stalking, the following, the what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Everybody wanted to know what Charles Lindbergh thought of, and you could put that in anything. What's the best vegetable? What's the, he was just it was constant. So let's see. Hold on, let's go see. Let's hear more. Oh, we have a young, lovely Anne Morrow right here. Anne Morrow was the daughter of one of the partners in a very large firm in New York. She was rich. Hey, Boston, her daddy was rich. And these two crazy kids fell in love. All right, so I'm just giving you those right now. We're just getting, to it. So this is her mother and father's home. And this is where they lived. All right. They didn't have a home of their own. I mean, obviously, this looks pretty spacious. I don't think they were on top of each other. But this was her mother and father's home. And that's where they lived. And then they started to build their own home in Hopewell, New Jersey. They also had a baby, and his name was Charles Austin Lindbergh Jr. Before this, Charles wanted to keep flying, and he taught Anne to fly. She was a pretty accomplished pilot, actually. She was almost always his co-pilot. But he decided he wanted to try to get from California to the East Coast in record time. She's 7 months pregnant behind him in the plane. All right. And he fucked up. Basically, he fucked up. And the air got too thin. And they had to land that thing, I think, in Chicago. I could be wrong. And she was put into the hospital for a long, long time. So they don't know. The world is waiting, right? This is almost like, all right, this would be almost like William and Kate having their babies. They're waiting outside this hospital, everybody, to see if she's okay, Well, they get out, and they get back to her family's house. And it's, the whole world is wondering. Because I don't think they even knew she was pregnant. I think they thought it, suspected it. But they couldn't tell anybody. They didn't tell anybody. And she ended up having the boy here at this home on, can't remember the date, but anyway. He was a beautiful boy. Now, when we talked about eugenics before and the pure race, Charlie had some problems, supposedly. His own physician said that he had a square head. Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, Rain Girl, write that on your list. You can look back at his reports. I tried to get the report to blow them up, and you just can't because they're so old and pixelated once you do it. But he said the kid had a square head, and they thought maybe that had been all right, we'll go back to that. Okay, there he is. Look at him. Oh, look at him. He had a hammer toe. Hey, Tracy, he had a hammer toe, which is not a big deal. Yep, he had a type of rickets. His body did not absorb vitamin C, I think, or D, because they kept him under a light. He had to be under ultraviolet light even at 20 months. There was a lamp near his crib. So that's vitamin D, but vitamin C is what he wasn't absorbing. So rickets is also very bad on the bones, especially growing bones. And he was actually a large kid. Height and weight wise, he was much larger than he was supposed to be. And that, my son was like that. My son, we went to from the birth on, was double what he was supposed to be in height and weight. Had it been only in height or only in weight, then there would have been a problem. But the boy was growing evenly. He was just big. I don't think I see I hate to say it, but waterhead. I can't remember what it is. I don't see that here. And there's Ann with him. Now, about this time, see how small this child is? It was before he was a year old, probably before he was 6 months old. Charles decided that him and Ann needed to go to the Orient. They needed to fly to the Orient. I'm not sure why. He didn't really give a reason. But she thank you, Halloween baby. Hey, hush. They had a baby nurse, Betty Gow. So Ann was forced to hand off her baby to the baby nurse because Charles wanted her and him to go to the Orient. And when they came back, the baby didn't know him. That's how long they were gone. It's like 3 months. But that's what Charles wanted to do. And everybody was going to do what Charles wanted to do because Charles controlled everything. Everything. And we'll go about that when we get there. Almost over that. So he was off, making speeches and just loving life. They started to build the home. I'll show it to you here. There it is. Nope, I'm a lie. That's the mother and father's house. That's a lie. Sorry. Sorry. All right, so she left him at that age. Then look at this little angel. Would you look at him? There he is at about 1. And I don't see anything wrong with his head. I know that this frontal thing, when they're babies, they close up. His hadn't at 2. His hadn't closed up yet. I don't know that that's a big deal. Apparently it was, but I mean, whatever. Unless she is holding him again as a baby. Here's her mother, and her grandmother. There he is again. Look at that. Look. I want to say this is his first birthday because there's a candle and a cake over here to the side that he goes, yeah, the soft spot doesn't close. And they also sometimes they try to hide that foot, but I mean, it is. Oh, we got too far. All right, let's go back. So on the night of March 1st, 1932, let's build up to that. So Charles Lindbergh was in New York, where he spent a lot of his time. He was doing. He was the guest of. He was going to be the guest of honor at a dinner. He was touring a new, museum or whatever it was. Every weekend they would go to they would leave her mother and father's home and they would go to Hopewell and they would spend the weekend. It wasn't completely finished, but they'd already had one party there. So, I mean, it wasn't like the windows weren't in yet. You know what I'm saying? So they would go and they would spend the weekend at their home in Hopewell, New Jersey. It was about an hour and a half drive. I think probably more. It's an hour and a half drive back and forth now. I imagine in 1932, it was probably taking a little bit longer. And that was about the same amount of miles to New York City and back. So, it was still a good spot. Well, Charlie had a cold. Charlie had a cold. And it was decided that they would stay at Hopewell and he could get better. They didn't want to travel with him. I mean, hell, like I said, Charles Lindbergh left the house before that boy got up, and he got home usually before the kid went, after the kid went to bed. There we are. He calls Ann and says, stay at the, at the house. Don't forget to give him his medicine, blah, blah, blah. All right. So the next day he calls, stay there. This is unheard of, mind you, Ryan. This is unheard of. They're always at that house, at the mother and father's house. They have never been there on a Tuesday night. Never been there on a Monday night. But he calls and says, stay there. Well, Ann by this time wasn't feeling well herself. She got the cold. She was also 7 months pregnant. So she was 7 months pregnant. She now had a cold. She called to her mother and father's house, and I can't remember what it is, but I'll tell you in here. And sent for Betty Gal, the nurse, the baby nurse. So she came. I don't even know how many people in the Morrow household knew what was going on, but that's going to come into play. So Betty shows up. She takes the baby, starts, taking care of him. I guess taking care of Ann too. And Charles is supposed to be in New York to be the guest of honor at a dinner about the 100th year anniversary of something. But instead of going to the dinner, hey, Uber, I love you. Instead of going to the dinner, he forgot. Shit, he forgot when he got into the car that he was going from his hotel to the dinner. He just decided to come on all the way home to Hopewell because he wanted to eat dinner there. And he got home. And Charlie's routine was obviously to be bathed. He liked Charlie to be put to bed at 8 o'clock at night, woken up at 10 o'clock at night so he could get on a potty and then go to bed. I love you, Uber. That's what he wanted. That was his regime. He also, and I'm going to pass a lot of things, but he also, hold on. Oh, where are you? I'm just, all right, it's somewhere. I'll find it. He made apparently Charlie liked to suck his thumb. So Charles Lindbergh creates this wire contraption where the whole thumb fit out of you long time. The thumb is encased in a wound up wire, right? And it goes through your wrist and they tie it to your arm. In Charlie's case, they had made a little thing in his pajama arm for it to fit in. Thank you for 4 months. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. So we had to put that contraption on. So let's get this straight. Charlie got home. Hold on. I'm going to pull this out because this is minute by effing minute. Look, I slammed it down. Listen to me. All right. We're getting down to it, people. The paper clips are coming off. Yeah, I'm going to show you. I know I have it in there. I know I have the picture of it in there. I'm just, it's horrible. It's horrible. So this is from I told you from the few days before here. So, Next Day Hill. That's the name of her mother and father's estate. Next Day Hill. Okay. Am I wrong or did the baby wear None were found. None were found. And thank you, Sassy Sarah. I love you. Thank you. We'll go back about how they think he was pulled out that bed. It's a lot. It's a lot of weirdness. Ugh. All right. So let's see. We're Monday the 29th. The baby was sick. After lunch, she called Betty Gow at Next Day Hill and said that they'd stay at Hopewell, and she came. But Betty Gow came because Charles Lindbergh wasn't going to be there. That's why she came. But then he just forgot and got in the car and drove an hour and a half. So Tuesday, March 1st, the baby seemed better, but Anne was sick. I'm making sure I get all this. Hold on. At 5:30, Gal went upstairs to the nursery, which you can approach from the house. I'm going to have to show you the house in a minute, but let's just get to it. So she fed him some cereal. When I say we're going to go through this minute by minute, I'm telling you. She fed him cereal around 6:15. Anne came up. They prepared him for bed. They rubbed his chest with Vicks Vapor Rub. I didn't know they had that back then. Gal quickly made, all right, so he needed a clean shirt. He didn't have a clean undershirt because they haven't packed to stay there. So Betty Gal just said, all right, I've got some cotton downstairs. I'll just make him an undershirt real quick. And she did. Went in there, fired it off. And it was a little undershirt. They put him in a size 2 gray Dr. Denton sleeping suit. They put the thing on him. I can't even believe they would do that. Betty laid him down in this bed. We'll go to look at this bed. There's this bed, and I don't know why there's a Chinese thing there, but whatever. That's his little bed. I mean, there it is. That's where she laid him. You go back over here. There's so many wrongs here. All right, this is their home. So we'll just look at it like that. So Lindbergh arrived at home around 8:25. Okay, so he and Anne went and they had dinner. He came through the garage, through the kitchen. He and Anne sat down to dinner around 8:35. After dinner, they went into the living room, which occupied this central area of the ground floor. All right. Just after 9 p.m., Lindbergh thought he heard something, which he later described as a wooden orange crate breaking. That's at 9 p.m. Okay. So that would be a wood breaking, all right? Basically. I mean, he said it was sounded like a crate, whatever. So he thought maybe it had come from the kitchen, but he didn't see anybody. He recalled that about 15 minutes later, Anne recalled, 15 minutes before he came up the road, she thought she heard someone come up the road. 15 minutes before Charles Lindbergh came down his one-way driveway, one way in, one way out driveway, she thought she heard someone going out of the driveway. But you don't look. You don't pull the blinds. Who was that? She didn't. And remember, we've got the most famous baby on earth upstairs. The most famous baby on earth. When he was born, they got thousands of gifts, thousands poured in from around the world. The most famous baby besides Jesus, right? Ryan. All right. So now they have a dog, by the way. They have a dog. Guess who didn't bark? Guess who didn't bark? The dog. The dog did not bark the entire night. Not. All right. Let me get some hydration here. Because I got a lot of ground to cover, people. All right. I kept on writing everywhere the dog didn't bark so I wouldn't forget it. I'm so glad I didn't. All right. So I think Anne went upstairs to go take a bath. Betty Gal got a phone call from her boyfriend. No big deal. After sitting in the living room for a little while, Anne and Charles went upstairs. They both went upstairs, right, to their bedroom, when it was just above the living room. at the rear of the house. So this is what we're looking at. This is the rear of the house. Let me see if I have a bigger picture of it. I probably do. All right, well, this is the rear. Now, and I know y'all can't see. I forgot you cannot see my thing. All right. The baby's room is up top, obviously. Down below that is Charles Lindbergh's library. Okay? Right below it. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is all so strange. So, Betty went back into the nursery. She had left a window open this much on March 1st. Now, those windows, if you see the shutters, those shutters work. And Anne tried to shut the shutters in the baby's room. As you can see, they're shut on this end of the photograph. They're shut. She couldn't get his shut on that side because one of them had warped. And so the shutters were not latched. So, okay. Gotta let y'all know that too. So Betty, let's see. Hold on, let me get my little things up. Meanwhile, all right, Anne bathed and went to bed at 10 p.m. 10 p.m. is when all shit breaks loose. So around the same time, Betty Gal went to the nursery to check on Charlie. She didn't want to disturb his sleep, so she only turned on the bathroom light in the hallway, so he wouldn't, even though she had to wake him up in a minute. But anyway, she decided it was now cold enough in his room, so she shut the window down. She shut the window. Didn't notice anything when she shut the window. Okay. Nothing. She shut the window. She approached the crib. She was alarmed that she couldn't hear the baby breathing. So with a very dim light, she didn't look in the crib, but she felt all over the crib to make sure he was there, and he wasn't there. So she went through the connecting door. Let me pull that up. A lot of these things are so hard to... I know y'all going to look at these and go, hey, did I pass it? All right, so she went through. I want to show you how this thing is built. I'll get to that too. Shit. Okay. And I know this is not huge, so let me try to make it huge. It's hard to do on Steam Notes. I don't think that's good. Can y'all even tell that I did that? Shit. Fuck. Hold on. Remove full screen. No, I don't want to do that. All right, sorry guys. All right. This is the second floor. And I know this is going to be super hard to see, and I'm sorry. So we're here. This is an empty bedroom, and I know y'all can't see it because so on the left here, and you can see the word bedroom. Okay, that is an empty bedroom. Beside that is the nursery. Okay, under that you have the bathroom, and then under that you have the Lindbergh's room. For some reason, Betty's room is over here to the right on the bottom instead of being this bedroom right here. But that's not my here. So they come through. This hallway becomes very, very congested very soon. So she goes through, right? Betty. She can't feel the baby in the bed. So she goes to Anne's room and she says, do you have the baby? And she's like, no, I don't. Go see if Colonel Lindbergh has him. Because Mr. Lindbergh liked to pull jokes like this. He almost killed one of his friends once. And he always went too far. And he always would do these. I might have to look them up. They're weird. And he would say, "Oh, did I go too far?" He knew he went too far. He almost killed somebody anyway. So now Anne's starting to get. She's again 7 months pregnant. All right. So they went downstairs and they asked Mr. Lindbergh if he had the baby, and no he didn't. So he jumps up. All right. And when Lindbergh expressed the surprise when she asked him, she knew, is what she said, basically, that this was bad. So he jumps up and he runs upstairs. And there's no baby. So he glances over and he sees a note on the windowsill. He saw a note that Betty didn't see. That Betty did not see. Betty didn't see it. Let me put it on this little baby. Betty didn't see the note. Why didn't she see the note? I don't know. The window, she didn't put the window all the way up. Betty did. She didn't put the window all the way up. She put it up like this much. It's March. The kid had just gotten over a cold. But when she went to close the window's closed. The window's all the way open. She doesn't go, that's not how I left that. That's not, hey, lumpy space. There you go. You know what, Lumpy? It's a lot like that, actually. So he ends up turning, it's on the radiator thing, the enclosure. I've already shown it to you once, but there's the note. Guess who doesn't touch the note? Lindbergh doesn't grab the note. He says, no, we got to wait. We got to wait on the cops. First call he made, his lawyer. Then they call the police around. They get Ollie Watley. Him and his wife are caretakers at the property. He gets him. He calls the sheriff. He calls his lawyer, as I said, and close friends. Shut up, whatever going on. Then he called the New Jersey State Police. Where he spoke to Lieutenant Daniel Dunn. This is Charles Lindbergh. He said, my son has just been kidnapped. Which gets them all rolling, right? So then, Dunn at first thinks this is a joke. And so Lindbergh calls back Lindbergh, and he realizes it's not a joke. So then we have Detective Louis Borman. He showed up. Again, the 10:40. The first officer arrives on scene at 10:40. All right. They looked outside the nursery and inside and outside the nursery at the corner there, where they noticed impressions in the ground, yards away from the house. There were imprints. All right. Let me tell you this too first. After Lindbergh took a bath upstairs and whatnot, I forgot to mention this. He went to his study under that child's window. Now, when we go look at this lamp, which I know I've shown y'all 30 times by trying to find something, you're going to see why that ladder was not right where it needed to be. All right. Like if I was going to climb up this window, even though it's on the ground, you'd put the thing right here. They couldn't do that. They didn't do that. So Lindbergh would have said, what's that fucking ladder doing there? The other weird part to me is while he's taking a bath, freestyle like you, when he was taking a bath, Lindbergh, all those windows are in the back of that house, right? The baby's room, the bathroom. You got, He was back there taking a bath. It happened between 9 and 10. They say 8 and 10, but probably between 9 and 10. He would have heard it. I hope. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I fucking ladder hitting the side of my house. I'm gonna be like, what the hell is that? But that's just me. All right, so they grab the note for the three of them. All right, so Charles Lindbergh grabbed a gun at one point and ran outside. Around looking, right? The ladder wasn't there. I know. I think I probably led y'all to believe it was. The ladder was gone. There was no ladder. So when the police got there, they did find footprints under the window and around the indentions of the wood. But they was too wet for them to take casts from. I'll believe them on that. But then they went and looked from under that window, right? That's a massive property. It's 300 and some acres, 390 acres, I think. I'm pretty sure about that. It's a big, that acreage, all that was never searched. They never searched that for the baby. Never searched it. But they had these prints that they said they couldn't get. And it was two sets of prints. One was a size 9 and one was larger. Well, then here comes Ann Lindbergh and says, oh, they're my footprints. I was trying to get Charlie to look out the window. Yesterday. Oh, 5'1" has got a 9-inch shoe. I mean, I got a 9-inch shoe too. But why are you making excuses for footprints they couldn't even cast anyway? Why, I'm saying, that's just me. That's just me. All right. So they walk around. They find another set of footprints that they're following. 2 sets of footprints. All right. And they end up 75 yards away from the house toward the southwest, where they found a wooden ladder, obviously handmade, laying on the ground. Shall we look at it now? It was a light in weight, and it was rather crudely constructed into 2 pieces that folded, and then another piece. This thing had 3 pieces to it. And it was, let's see. I've shown it to you 300 times. I've said it. All right, here's that damn ladder. All right, there we go. Now, this ladder is placed wrong. This is not the way the ladder was. The imprints were not under the window. I don't even know why this is a piece of evidence, but it is. And this is in no way the way the ladder was used. There were 2 little marks on the whitewashed house of the end of this damn thing, ladder. So it was not gotten through like that. Plus, if Charles Lindbergh had been in his library, he'd have seen it. So, no, that's wrong. That's evidence. All right, so here they've got it right. They've got it right. But it wasn't on the shutter. It was on the house. So this means a grown man had to climb up this rickety-ass ladder, get in the window, not knowing if it was shut, not knowing if I guess they could tell that the shutters weren't closed, but they, you'll see they did plan ahead. So this is the way it was. That's the way it had to happen. So this person would have had to come out on this ladder, right? Got into this room. And let me remind you, there was only one man tried, convicted, and executed for this murder. That's a 2-man job right there. Not to mention there were 2 different, there were 2 different ones. Prints, meaning. So he had to swing in here, I mean, literally swing over there, grab the baby, leave the note. Now, mind you, it was raining and there was mud. Remember, that's why they couldn't get the damn prints. They couldn't cast the footprints because it was too wet, rainy, and muddy. But they got in that house and they get no mud in it. Not bad. Not bad. Now they assumed, oh well, he absolutely had covers over his shoes. What is he? The damn heat and cooling man. But that was a good, I mean, that's a good thing. Let me see what's next. What I got next? I am passionate about this. And there's, like I said, there's the baby's bed. This is not how it works, so I do not understand why it is here. But this is a picture that is a lot around, and it doesn't do it. That's not how it happened. All right, so the world found out. The world found out. Oh my God, the most famous baby on earth has been kidnapped. How does that even happen? How does that even happen? The world is, and if you see Chaz, if y'all don't know, I don't ever want to talk down to you, but back then, they would shorten your name, obviously. So Chaz is short for Charles. Chaz Lindbergh Jr. Pretty little thing. God, he was so pretty. What had happened was, though, let's go back up. Let me find this damn. All right, here's the ladder. If you see, all right, on the left fits into the right, and then the right fits into the left. You see that it's different widths there. So it was a ladder that they could carry. Not a lot of people needed it, but needed to do it. So this is the ladder. Now, what happened was up at the top, the rung broke. All right, the rung of the ladder itself broke. So depending on how they had that child, a lot of things. Trigger warning on all this actually after this part, because after this part, let's do trigger warners, because so what they probably put him in a burlap sack and put some, even though no chloroform was smelled in there, they could have done that. Don't know. They didn't want him to make a lot of noise, and he didn't make any noise. So he didn't cry when they got him. So there was that. Now we have a problem here, and the police came in and they dusted the fingerprints in the bedroom, in the nursery. None were found. When I say none were found, Anne's fingerprints weren't there. Betty's fingerprints weren't there. I think maybe years later they picked up the babies, but their fingerprints weren't in there either. So that's another, that's another what? Yeah, so that was weird. So then we have they tried to take fingerprints off the ladder. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. So we know that child was taken out of there with the thumb guard on his hand. Size 3 doctor. Size 3 doctor. I'll find it, because that sleeping suit's going to come into play here in a little while, in the worst way possible. Anyway, it was like a sleeping suit. So we know he left out there in his sleeping suit, his thumb guard. The blankets weren't taken, because Betty Gal would she would pin one of his blankets up onto the bed, onto the little mattress. And then if he kept trying to get out, she would just do another pin over here. So he was pinned in. I don't think, not tightly, but just so he didn't wiggle out of the and that's done out of love. That's done out of love. But There's so much weirdness going on. Why aren't you opening the damn note? Why aren't you? I don't know. You cannot be. I don't know. All right. So at 10:46, a teletype alarm was sent across the state instructing that any car that might be carrying a sleeping child in it, shit you not, dressed in a sleeping suit, be pulled over. So any car that looked like it had a sleeping child with a sleeping suit on, yeah, you was in big trouble that night. At 11 p.m., sorry, the statewide roadblock was put into effect. Delaware, New Jersey, and Connecticut. This was big. So we're still at night now, right? The world hadn't found out yet. The first state trooper arrived at the house around 10:55, and this included Colonel H. Norman Schwarzkopf. If that sounds familiar to you, Norman Schwarzkopf's son, Norman Schwarzkopf, was the person who led Desert Storm. So he was 37 years old at the time, the dad. I mean, you never know, right? All right, so another major came, right? Betty is searching the house from cellar to attic. This is another John Bonet thing. They're letting Betty search the house. We know what happened when John Bonet was, you don't let somebody do this. You just don't. Then Anne went back to the bedroom. She opened it and she said she thought she heard a cry. But Elsie Watley assured her that it was just a cat. So she's absolutely, and wouldn't we all be absolutely crazy? So we have Corporal Wolf showing up with noted yellow clumps of mud or clay on the suitcase beneath the corner window of the nursery. So this person, again, got a clump of mud. Now, mind you, Charles Lindbergh was running around with a gun. So he probably couldn't have done it. I don't know. I mean, that didn't matter. They didn't do anything with it. He went to investigate the outside and saw footprints in the wet ground below. He didn't have a ruler or a tape measure, so he just compared it to his own shoe, which was a 9, and found the prints to be larger. Then we have 11:55. All these troopers are starting to arrive, right? They report seeing 2 sets of prints made by 2 different people, but later changed their stories to say that it was only one. Either it was or it wasn't. Either you remember or you don't. That's what I'm saying. So there we go. One explanation is that they concluded the smaller prints were actually Anne's, which they did not do in the long run. They didn't, because it was only one set. Remember, it was only one set. They only saw one set. So even though Anne said she was under it, and you had the prints of the person who did do it, you changed your story to that there was only one set of prints, and they had to be Anne's. Hey, blame me, Katie. So there we are. Because she had been outside of the thing trying to get the baby's attention. I always like to get my kids' attention in front of a fucking open window. That's great. It was reported by Lindbergh and others beneath the window where near the ladder eventually stood. There was clear shoe prints with textile design showing that socks or a bag of some type were put on. Girl, bye. Ain't time for you. Get out of here. Okay. They found a chisel also at the bottom under the baby's window. It was It was 9.5 inches long, but it was a 3-inch chisel. It is assumed that they brought that with them in case the shutters were latched. You know, I don't know. I don't know if you have workers at your house because your house isn't finished yet. I don't know where gets what. I don't know. So I'm not gonna venture to, to do that. The investigators wondered why the dog had not alerted the household to the potential intruder, but Lindbergh explained, the dog was over there by the driveway, the 3-car garage. He was over there. The dog, not real good. So you would have to have a car coming down the road because Lindbergh heard a car, right? Or Ann heard a car before Lindbergh got home. One way, one out. Remember that too. All right, so he didn't hear that, the car that she heard it. He didn't hear 2 people carrying a ladder. He didn't hear the ladder. You know what I'm saying? He didn't hear a lot. That dog was worthless. But at least Lindbergh had an excuse for why he didn't do anything. Yeah, he was just asleep. Don't fuck with him. And again, mind you, Lindbergh wasn't even supposed to be home. So there. By this time, Lindbergh's lawyer, Harry Breckenridge, had arrived. Yes. Now, I'm going to start fast forwarding through this. Lindbergh decided that he was going to take control of the whole deal. He was going to be the one, not the cops. I'm going to handle it. Me. All right. And you're going to do what I say. We're going to do this. So all of these veteran officers said, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. This really makes me mad. I'm so mad about this. I've been mad about this forever. All right, so then Breckenridge calls the FBI, literally J. Edgar Hoover. Hello, J. Edgar Hoover. We got a problem. And J. Edgar Hoover says that they will, because they could only, this is the only good thing that's ever come out of this. J. Edgar Hoover said, I am almost certain that child has crossed state lines, which makes it my jurisdiction. The FBI's, we have jurisdiction there. So we'll give y'all any of the help that y'all wanted. I see you, baby. Nothing suspicious there. He does. Oh yeah, that's what I told you. There was no prints. There was no prints. Betty Gal's and Ann's, no prints. None. And maybe not even the baby. So now the cops are like, absolutely, he was wearing gloves. So he was wearing socks on his shoes and gloves, carrying a chisel, climbing up a ladder where he needed to make a 3-foot jump over in the mud. Didn't leave any on the seal or anything. Got the baby without the baby making a noise. Got it out. Dropped the ladder. Jumped in a car. One way in, one way out. And no, the dog didn't bark. So now they said, oh, well, there you go. We can't find him because he was wearing gloves. Absolutely. Now we're going to, all right, there's the window. I'm sorry. There's the window. That's the baby's window. All right. So, and this right here is the radiator cover. All right. Or if I let you to Uranus and back. And the note, y'all are not seeing my pointer. All right, so where that thing is, that I don't know what you call that thing. There's a trunk under there, and then there's the ledge. That's actually a radiator cover right under the window, and that's where the note was found. Betty Gall didn't see it. Betty Gall didn't notice that the window had been open all the way. How did it doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna. They opened the letter, and let me find that for you. It's very hard to read the way it is. So I didn't take a lot of pictures. There were a total of 13 notes. And shit. There was, like I said, a total of 13 notes. Some they would get 2 a day. But this, oh shit, fuck. I know I just fucking had it. Hold on, don't look. Everybody close your eyes. Close your eyes, 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 close your eyes. All right, here we go. Damn it, I knew it was up here somewhere. So, here's the note. And it says, "Dear sir, have 50,000 ready. 25,000 and $20 bills, 1,000 15,000 in tens, and $1,005 bills. Okay. After 2 to 4 days, we will inform you where to deliver the money." All this is spelled wrong. The notes. Let me show it. Hold on. If you can still. Let me make myself huge. Let me make myself big. No, let's not do that. Well, you see it. I mean, I wrote it out so that it's not. The money will warn you. We warn you for making any public or for notify the police. The child is in a gut care, which means good, is what he's meaning to. And indication for all letters are signatures. Oh, so indication they mean. So see this right here, that's on the bottom. We'll see it. All right. So this is 2 blue circles with the red and where they interlock and the 3 holes. So that's how Charles Manson. That's how Charles Lindbergh was going to know that it was from him. All right. $50,000 in 1932. And I'm just going to leave that up for a minute because Schwarzkopf had established at the police post for the 3-car garage. That's where they worked out of. There was a man and a woman that said they saw a guy cruising around the estate, not in the estate, but around it, in a green car. Okay. All right. I mean, a man and 2 men in a black sedan were asking around how to get to the Lindbergh's house on Tuesday night. Remember now, they weren't supposed to be there. This has never happened before that they were there. They were always at the in-laws, never at their own home on a Tuesday. This is the first time it happened. How did somebody know? Number one, they were there. They had to find out real quick. 2, figure out they needed a 2-story window. 2-story ladder. 3, get the 2s, the 3s. Where'd the ladder come from? You can't strap it to the top of a car. That would look odd. People would remember that. Oh, look at you! Remember that car we saw with the big ladder on it? I do. That never happened. So never there. This was a first for everything, and now the child is gone. And now all people are asking where the Lindberghs are. Now I will tell you this: they were very popular, and when they were building a new home, I do believe that there was a couple of magazines that covered it. I don't know to what degree because they're not here anymore, so I can't look at them. But I know that a lot of people, I don't think there was a plan like we have, but it was like a photo thing. So, in Trenton, New Jersey, police were told that at midnight, a railroad brakeman had seen 2 men and a woman with a child on the platform waiting for the New York bound train. These people were never found. Schwarzkopf requested a list of everyone who worked in the house and everyone who worked in the in-laws' house. Now we're getting shit done, okay? Now we're getting shit done. So they interview all of them. They interview all of the two. There's only two people there that were theirs. So I got this thing here on me. So I can't understand why the kidnappers had taken such a risk rather than wait for. I mean, why? You did it between 9 and 10, or 8 and 10. You took a big risk. You know, okay, away you go. Let me know what's going on, Bad Madison. They took a huge risk showing up where they, didn't know whether there was security or not know where the house is, to get the child when everybody's still up. Everybody in that house was still awake except for the fucking dog, according to Lindbergh. And they do it. That's put that on the odd list. That's on the odd list. All right. But I will go on. Now, the fact that the dog didn't bark, let's see. They said the fact that all right, I remember this. The fact that the dog didn't bark, the police started thinking it was one of the people that worked there, which were only a husband and wife, and Betty Gal had been there. But she didn't work there. She worked at the other one. This was her first night in the house. This Tuesday night was the first night she'd been in the house. So, I mean, I guess they were hoping, that it was them, but it wasn't. The house sat on one of the highest points in the state, and they could be seen, all right, if you knew what it was. And there we go. The baby blanket was still in the house. All right. We're rolling on. I might not get this done today. Now, kidnapping during the Depression was a big thing. It was easy money. They would kidnap a kid, ask for $50, something that was attainable, and then they'd get him go. It's quick. But you don't do that to the most famous baby on earth. Why would you couldn't take him out anywhere. You couldn't, what do you mean? It doesn't, let's say somebody in New Jersey or New York, all right? And you've been neighbors with this person for 40 years. And all of a sudden they have a baby that they didn't have before. There's a $25,000 reward for this. $25,000 is a lot of money now, but it was a freaking fortune then. And you don't think people were turning people in left, right, center? I would be. That's another thing that was so odd. A baby just showing up at somebody's house, especially with curly, blonde hair. No, I don't think so. So then he took control of the case, the idiot. And he did have his, Lindbergh had his attorney to, help him out. They got all the mail for Hopewell. They sent that in. Let's see. They did that. Depression, breaking common. I sound like Corey. So Schwarzkopf believed that these people were professionals and local and non-professional. There is no way you can be non-professional and get away with everything that they got away with. There is no way on earth that this wasn't professional. Sorry, Schwarzkopf. There's too many stuff. The dude fell off the ladder. All right? That's all I'm going to say. So, I've got to hurry this up because I want to finish this. I'm just going to do this. All right. I know I hate to do this, but we'll be here all night. Enter Mr. Dr. Condon. So there was a doctor. He was a retired principal in New Jersey. And he was a whack-a-doodle, but he put a yeah. Let me get this timeline for you. All right, let me get this timeline for you. So this baby has been gone. We're going to move it up a little bit. This baby has been gone for quite a minute. This happened on March 1st, right? Shit. This happened on March 1st. We're going to go up a few days. We're going to go up a lot of days. Dr. John Condon, in a strictly Brooklyn paper, a Bronx paper, right? Newspaper, talks about, I'm gonna, he's tearing them down, the people, the kidnappers, and saying that he is on it. He will be a go-between. He will be a go-between for this, so we can facilitate this transfer of this precious baby. Well, little did we know, about a week after they took the baby to, on March 1st, they sent him another letter saying, you know what, it's 70,000 now, Lindbergh. It's 70,000 now. Oh, okay. He said, all right. So he put this letter in the paper, Condon did, on March 8th. He got a knock at the door, knock at his little door. And a letter appeared. And they ended up sending Mr. Condon a note. And the note had this on it, this bottom, and it gives another set of requests. So what Condon does, who loved Charles Lindbergh, right? They ended up somehow him and his, all right, they said, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. So he says, okay, I'm not going to tell anybody. I've got this really important note, but let me go down to the local bar and find my friend Al Reich. Oh, we can't find Al Reich? Well, Al had a car. He could take him to Hopewell. But we can't find him. Oh, wait a minute. Let's go down to Mac Rosenberg's, and maybe he's there. Hey, Max, guess what? Look at this. It's a fucking note. And they said, oh, shit. So now he's told two people. So then they find the other dude. Oh, no, there's a fourth. Gaglio. He owned a car. Mr. Gaglio, who was in the bar as well. So they all get in the damn car, go out to Hopewell, show the people the note. They know this line, right? They know this sign, and they let him in. Oh, now you better hold on to your breath. If you take John Condon's story, right? It was he was the savior. He was God, So they get down there. Thayer is one of the guys that was down there. Claims to, they have spoken to Dr. Condon, and he was a doctor. They never could find a fucking thing where he was a doctor. So his delusions of grandeur, when he got to speak directly to Charles Lindbergh, impressive, I guess. Impressive. Shit. So this is his version of it. Sorry. That when he showed up and he read them the note, which demands the $70,000 now, that Anne stretched out her hand and said, will you bring my baby back? I shall do everything in my power to bring him back to you. Oh, thank you. And I'm not crying. Oh, and so he brushed away her tears, and she said, I'm not crying, but that's so much better. Thank you. Now this son of a bitch tries to hold this son of a bitch. So we're going to meet him in a cemetery. There's a thing. We're all going to meet him in a cemetery. John Condon's going to go in there, and he's going to meet with them. But they didn't have the $50,000 ready yet. Why wouldn't you have the $50,000 yet? That wasn't. And then also the guy, the kidnappers diagrammed a box that they wanted this to go into, a wooden box, and it would fit exactly $50,000, exactly what they'd asked for, the denominations and all, right? So, and that wasn't done either. So these kidnappers, this guy that he met, oh, and let me tell you this, Mr. Condon was 72, but when he went to this first little cemetery to meet this guy, the guy took off running. So Mr. Condon at 72 chased him down. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. So they go and they don't have the money. They don't have the box. But he chases the guy down and they talk for an hour and a half. The guy's German. They had already figured out he was probably German from the way he wrote the note. The way Germans write with their, they put the dollar sign at the end, not at the beginning of a figure, and the misspellings and what he would substitute for. I mean, and remind you, this was right after the First World War. Germans were not real popular around here, much as the Second World War. So we wanted some proof. I'm skipping over a lot, and I'm sorry. So they wanted some proof. They wanted the seat, the baby suit. They wanted the baby suit. And this is another ransom note that went back and forth. They agreed to provide the suit. And it was delivered to Condon's house. And it was indeed the suit. When Charles Lindbergh and Anne looked at it, they said, yeah, that's it. Because they modified it, if you will remember, for the little thing for the thumb. So we go back and forth again. We're in mid-March. We're in mid-March. A lot of empty nothings going on every week. Every week. Now, we're going to enter, if you will remember, Al Capone was brought down by not the FBI, but by an accountant that worked for the IRS. That same accountant, it's in here somewhere, I have to find it. He got involved, right? They called him I guess, what's his name? J. Edgar Hoover. And so they said, he looked around, he said, y'all are not writing down the serial numbers as you're getting this together. And they said, no. Well, you better do it. You better get every serial number. So then they started adding in gold money. All right, so our money today is not based on gold, it's on silver. But they had gold money, and let's find it. Gold certificates, $10 gold certificates, $1,000 gold. And they put some in there. Now, remind you, there is now $70 online, right? That's how much, they want. And there's just, it's different, Anyway. So they started writing down the serial numbers because they were too stupid to do it because their Lord and Savior, Charles Lindbergh, didn't tell them to do it. And then he said, when the man, it's in here somewhere. Anyway, he said, make sure that you make the $20,000 extra in small denominations because they will spend that first. Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you, smart man, whom we don't know. So they also, let me tell you this, they interview this maid that lives with the other family at Next Day Hill. Every single servant that they had interviewed had been, we didn't do it. calm. Well, we get to Violet Shape. And she, along with the 29 employees of that household, were interviewed. Her intended boyfriend was actually the butler. They were supposed to get married. It was unlike anyway. So they start to interview her. She goes fucking crazy. She goes berserk, losing her mind. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this. Why are you doing this? I don't know. I just me and my sister were out, and I met a guy, and we went out on the first. We went out on the very first, and we, I don't know why you did it. Why are you doing this? Going crazy. So they were like, back off her. She's lost her friggin' mind. But that was, odd, to say the least. They go back again. They try to interview her a second time. All right. A couple weeks later, she actually had her tonsils out. And for some reason, back in 1932, when you had your tonsils out, you were in the hospital for a month. I don't understand it, but anyway. They tried to interview her. The doctor said she's too weak. They said, we don't care. She again throws a fit. She can't remember where she went with this guy on the date. Doesn't remember his name. Doesn't remember where they went. Doesn't remember what they did. Thought they went to a movie, but no, they didn't go to a movie because there wasn't one showing that day. Do you remember his name? No, I don't remember his name. Well, that's funny because we found his business card in your damn room. All right, she's caught. She doesn't, either went out on a date, with the boyfriend, or she got caught. Around April 13th. All right, so this is on in there. They try to interview her. She decides to drink silver cleaner that apparently had arsenic in it. And she killed herself. So a lot of people are thinking she was the mole. She was the one. She'd never been to the house, though. She'd never been to Hopewell. But she killed herself. Why? We don't know. She didn't write a note. She got caught in a lie. All right. Let's go up to the money drop. We're going to go to the money drop. It was on the April 3rd, maybe. I can't remember. They dropped the money. The John had $70,000 with him in a box. The other $20,000 couldn't fit. He met Cemetery John. I'm sorry, didn't tell you that either. Cemetery John. They always met in cemeteries. So Dr. John, talks this guy out of $20,000. He said, they're really not that rich. They're not that rich. So why don't you just take the $50,000? He thought that Lindbergh would be pleased because Lindbergh had gone with Mr. John when a lot of things happened. He went when this thing happened, dropping the money. So he talks him out of carrying the money that the IRS man told him to take because that's what he would spend first. Dr. John doesn't do that. He puts a sales stamp on the kid. So he hands the note. Cemetery John, who is German, hands Dr. John the note. Don't read this for 6 hours. It'll tell you where the baby is. He's he's well taken care of. Don't read it for 6 hours. 6 hours. Don't. And Dr. John said, okay. He ran back to the car where Lindbergh was. And they start going, I guess, home. And he opened the note. And Lindbergh says, I'm not going to break the promise. I'm going to wait 6 hours. That was the promise made. What? I'm not going. Hey, I'm not going to open it early because that's not what we agreed. The location of his child was in that note. So I think he eventually did. They talked him into it. They said, well, no. They told Dr. John not to open it for 6 hours. You have it now. You can open it. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, they tell him that the baby is in Martha's Vineyard, docked on a boat named the Nellie. It's 28 feet long, and that is where he is with 2 nurses. Now, let's ask ourselves this. Let's go back. You are kidnapping a child for money. You have now had that child for over 30 days. Okay? Why? But anyway, you have had to feed the child, clothe the child, right? You didn't have any clothes with him. You've had to do everything. That's a big risk. To keep a child 30 days and you've got to hide him and move him and all that shit. No. Not doing that. I've skipped through all this shit. Money drop. The search. Okay, so the search goes on. We're searching for the baby. The baby is not there. There is no boat that says the Nellie. There's no 28-foot boat anywhere. Lindbergh is out there now, literally flying at this point, days later, up and down the whole East Coast, looking for anything with the name Nellie on it. He didn't find it. He never found it. But what does happen? Is trigger warning. On the afternoon of May 2nd, 46-year-old truck driver, 4.5 miles away from the estate of Charles Lindbergh, goes into the woods to have a wee, and there he finds a baby, and it's halfway buried. Yeah, trigger warning. Sorry, it's only halfway buried. It's not intact. But he's been found. It's again wet back there. I accidentally saw, when you looking up these things and Googling them and looking through stuff, I accidentally saw the how they found him, right? And a little further down, it was like the autopsy. I mean, that's one thing about doing these cases like this is you see shit you don't want to see. So he was also 75 feet into the woods. I mean, he didn't jump down and 10 feet and go behind a thing. He was 75 feet from the road to the woods, and that's where he found him. Like I said, partially buried. I'm not going to read some of this. I wrote it down and I thought I might, but I never did. So they called the police. The guy that was their medical examiner was also there, ran their funeral home. They let Ann know. Charles was still searching for the baby. He was going back and forth, right? And so he doesn't know. So they had to tell him. So Betty Gow, God love her, went to identify the baby. She didn't make Mary do it. Mary, by this time, was 8 months pregnant. And 8 or 9. No, 7 or 8. But Betty went, and the only way that she could do it was by his hammer toes, his little hammer toes that were crossed. It is, he was out there from the night he got taken. He was laying out there from day one, night one. And we're going to see. I'm going to go through this. Hard to say. That's John, by the way. That guy. All right, so let's see. Here is his skull, obviously. If you turn it around, he had a massive fracture over here. Absolutely massive fracture. This is what killed that baby. Now, was he dropped when the when the ladder broke? Was he dropped? I don't know. I would hate to think somebody would take a child just to do this to it and try to get money, but there's all these kind of people in the world. But then we have this little hole back here on the other side. One of the policemen said, "Oh, dear goes." One of the policemen said, "Oh, yeah, I know how that got there. I poked it with a stick." A skull, even of a child, is not going to poke. They're not going to do that when you poke it with a stick. So what could have happened was, this is where the initial impact was, this little hole. The other side is where, kind of, because the frontal thing was not, it was not unstable, but, and nobody really knows. It could have been, that cop saying, "Oh, well, no, I did that with a stick." Is he the same cop that said, "Oh, no, I didn't see 2 feet print. I just saw 1. Sorry." Okay, that was weird. So that's the cause of death. Charles Lindbergh came home, went to the funeral home / medical examiner, and he too identified his son. I'll give him that. He too did that because he never wanted to have anything to do with him before. Always out before he got up and after he went to bed. There's a guy, Will Rogers. Will Rogers was a famous satirist back in those days. Really funny guy. Observations on everything. He went to visit Anne and Charles Lindbergh at the in-laws' estate one time. And he told a story about the little baby was playing on the floor with Anne. The little baby got up to walk. And Charles Lindbergh started throwing pillows at him. Every time he'd get up to walk, Charles Lindbergh would hit him with a pillow. He has rickets. Number one. That, his bones are brittle. But it's said that maybe the baby couldn't walk. And he didn't want somebody else to see that, so he just kept hitting the child with a pillow. And then eventually the boy just stopped trying. So the police take over at this point. They're like, "Thanks, Charles." The trail's closed. None of this money is popping up, right? None of this money is popping up anywhere. It's $50,000 and it is not popping up. Nowhere. And the trail gets real damn cold. Until one of the notes pops up. One of the some of the money pops up. Well, let's go. It was at a gas station. One was at a movie theater. They started popping up a little bit, and they got it. It was a gold note, and it was on the list. Let me show y'all the list. They thought tellers were going to be able to decipher all of these serial notes when they caught them. But I'll tell you what ended up happening is a guy named Richard Hopman. He went and got 97 cents worth of gas, and he paid with a $10 gold note. The guy, because the gold notes have been, they wanted them turned in. They didn't want any more of them out there. They weren't going to go by that. But you could still spend them. So because the guy didn't think the gold certificate was going to pass, he wrote a little, let's say, he wrote a little, the license plate of the guy who used it. And that's also, yeah, that's Hoffman. This is the picture of him. We're gonna go on in there. They let me just burst your bubble. They arrested him. They went right to. They actually did. As soon as they figured out the money, they got him. They got him. They went and picked his ass up. Now they were looking in the house, and they finally went up to the attic, and they went, "Whoa." There was actually a specialist that knew about everywhere those boards in that ladder came from. He tracked him down over this time. Tracked him down. And he found out that some of them were actually in New York City. These, I don't know how he did it, but he did it. Not without Google, but he did it. They ended up arresting Mr. Houtman because in his attic, there are parts of his attic that are gone, and they are in that ladder. It's only one board, actually, from it. And he's German. And we go back over here, and his finger is handwriting was that this is, yeah. So this is the shirt that the baby was found in. That's the shirt that Betty, and a sample. This is a diaper that he would wear, cloth, obviously, and this is the one that was on the body. So he never left that. We know that for sure. So they arrest him. I'm gonna hurry this up. They arrest him. They put him on trial. Just him now. Just him. And all of these line up. He never once. Some of the money, he ended up having about $16,000 of this money, which is a third of it. He had some in his little thing, and stuffed in a can. He had it everywhere. Was he involved? Absolutely he was. He was absolutely involved. I think he wrote the notes. I think he built the ladder. I think he made he was involved for sure. Or this was the biggest frame up of somebody that did, you know what I'm saying? But they stopped with him. They never started looking for the rest of them, the other footprints, the other, they did the guy in the cemetery. They said it was just all him. He couldn't have participated in the kidnapping itself because where he worked, where it was, and getting back home, there wasn't enough time. He wasn't there. And they knew this. But that man was never going to leave that courtroom not guilty, because everybody in the world was watching. And there was no goddamn way they were going to do it. This is their house today. They never spent another night in that house. They ended up giving it to the state of New Jersey, and it became a lot of things. It was a youth home. It was exactly. And this is the baby's room, and now it's a computer lab. So, again, he had a third of the money. I do think he bore some responsibility. Do I think he thought that child was dead? No. Now, there are books that have come out that said Charles Lindbergh had this baby was undergoing surgery in that house to try to correct some kind of all of this stuff, and he died. And they went to the lengths of, tossing him 4.5 miles away. I don't know. I'm sure if I read that book, I'll believe it. You know what I'm saying? You know how you read the book and you're like, yeah, maybe so. But we're going to get to the good stuff now. So Charles and his wife had 5 other children. John, who was born in August of 1932. It's a lot. They had a lot. I'm trying to find all their names. Lindbergh still went all around the world. He took Anne with him too. I mean, he wasn't gonna, go alone. But in 1955, Charles Lindbergh was over in Germany. Just visit. I don't even know what his official. I don't know. 1956. What are you doing? You're an old man. You're 55. I'm 55, but I'm not old. But he went over there and he met a woman. Her name was Bridget. And with Bridget, he had 3 more children. Derek, Astrid, and David. 3 more children. But wait, it gets worse. He also met her sister. Her sister was Marietta, I think. Had 2 children with her. And then you jump up and you get the private secretary. He had 2 kids with her. In 1974, he would go, let me just say that, he would visit, I think the first one, Bridget, I don't know if he visited all of them. He would go over 2-3 times a year to visit these kids. But they didn't call him Daddy. They didn't call him Mr. Charles. They didn't call him anything. They called him, where is it? Some stupid ass name. They didn't know he was their father. So in 1974, Lindbergh was sick. He was really sick. He was going to die. And what he did, he lived in Hawaii then. And what he did on his deathbed was he wrote a letter to the 3 women in Germany. And he said, listen, can you please let's just keep all this a secret like we've been doing. All right, guys. Okay, ladies, let's just make sure this is all a secret. Don't tell anybody. And they loved him enough that they didn't tell anybody. So Astrid, from the first woman, figured it out around 2001. No, maybe before that. She figured it out. She figured out that her father was Charles Lindbergh. She found out. Now, I don't know if the cousins knew that they were cousin, sister, brother. I didn't know. I don't know if they knew that. I don't know how big that secret was. So she figured it out. But she waited. She waited until her mother died. She waited till Miss Lindbergh died, who died in 2001, Anne Lindbergh. She waited for her to die too. I think she did. The mother told her. I'm sorry. Once she figured it out, her mother told her, but told her not to say anything. And she said, okay. And she waited until her to die and for Miss Lindbergh to die. And then she came out with it. And it's all been proven they're all brothers and sisters. 13 children he had. Now, how many more does he have? He had to spread that sperm that was perfect. Perfect genes. He even said to young men, find a woman, marry a woman with good genes. Don't, not follow your heart. So how many more little Lindberghs we have running out there who are keeping the damn secret? I don't know. I know we got 13. I had 13. So the big hero, the big owl, I'm not going to open this note. I'm going to honor the agreement. I'm going to wait 6 hours to find out where my son is. All of a sudden wants secrets and wants to go have double children. No. Yeah. I mean, he is also, in Hawaii, it's some kind of honor when you die that you were born standing up and facing the sea. He was given that honor when he died over there in Hawaii. So if you're ever in Hawaii and you want to go see, know that he's standing up. Right? I mean, come on. Well, so I want to go get my shit checked. State of disorder. I need to go. Well, I've had a DNA. I know my parents are mine, so never forget it. I'm on. I couldn't. Yeah, no. So anyway, that is a condensed version because I've got 75 years full of notes, and you know, again, with you, y'all tell me your kid has been abducted. You are gonna wait and fuck around for 31 days. But and not one, you're gonna wait 16 days, you ain't got no money. You ain't get the money yet. And then the brilliant tax man that said, y'all haven't written any of the serial numbers down? And how this thing could have been. Well, maybe it couldn't have been. Depending on who you think did this, could it have been stopped? I don't know. I know that we got a maid that's, drinking or whatever silver cleaner to kill herself because her story kept changing. Just lie. I mean, just lie. Pick a lie and stick with it. So yeah, it is infuriating. I've lost all. Knowing that he was that much of a control, that he couldn't even let Anne sit there and be pregnant. He wanted to take, go coast to coast. She couldn't be a new mother. We had to go to the Orient. I'm not, I'm smarter than all of you, law enforcement. I'm going to run this. Me and this fucking idiot 72-year-old bitch, Dr. Condon. Who just wanted it was like, oh God, Jassy. That's the name they would put into the paper. They were having conversations in the paper. And Dr. Condon's nickname was Jassy. Now that became real big, right? He became a celebrity. He went to vaudeville. Hey, Christy, how you doing? He went over to vaudeville when all this was done. Dr. Condon. He certainly got a lot out of it. I honestly think that Lindbergh state of disorder, it is awfully odd. It is awfully odd. Sometimes I think, well, you know what, Shannon, don't offer an opinion because that's what makes it, good. They can all have their own opinion. But I'm sorry. There's so many things that had to be in place for this to work, for it to just be somewhat unprofessional by themselves in their, let's see, he doesn't have a green car. He had a blue car. All right. Talking about Mr. Hatman. So he's got his rickety ass thing tied to the top of his car, driving all around Hopewell, New Jersey, parked on the side of the road, one way in, one way out. I got one way in, one way out. So you're going to worry about carrying a fucking ladder, driving a car, because remember, Anne heard a car. So that means he didn't park it and walk. She heard the car. Hey, Flash. What? And then 2 sets of footprints turn into 1. And then no fingerprints in the room. People. And so Mr. Hauptman was executed. The governor of New Jersey went to Richard Hauptman. I never can say that right. And said, will you please just admit to something so we don't have to do this? And he wouldn't. Because if you're Richard Bruno, all right, so he went by Richard. His wife didn't even know his first name was Bruno until he got arrested. So you know now that your buddies that who have the 2/3 of the money that you know what they're capable of now. They can stomp a baby's head in. What are they going to do to your 8-year-old son? Because he had an 8-year-old son. So do you keep your mouth shut and go to the damn, because they can get your son. They got the most famous baby in the world. Your kid's out here not protected from anybody. So did you sit there like a man, shut up, and let them do this to you? He did. He didn't. He could have helped himself 1,000 times, and he didn't because he didn't want his son to be an example. Because who's going to care? That's what I think why he didn't do it. Hey, Jeannie. So that is the abridged story of. Like I said, I could have sat here. We could have done this for 3 consecutive weeks on this. And I'm telling you, the more I would have read to you out of this, the madder you would have gotten. Because there's a lot of shit in here I just didn't do. I didn't even cover it because this was so big. You would absolutely be like, what the actual hell? So I promised a good one, right? Did I deliver or not? Excuse me. Yeah, I was sick too. I do a lot of these things that are just, in the day, state of disorder. In the day, this was absolute. This would be like somebody capturing Prince Louis, from William and Kate. And it was that big around the world. They called this little kid the little eaglet, he had nicknames like his dad had nicknames. So this was huge. This trial was enormous. And that man was never going to walk out of there. Ever. And I know he was involved. I get it. I know he was involved. I know. He wrote letters and he built a fucking ladder. But the other people got away with murder. And they got away. I don't even know now if they could. I guess the good thing about this is they never got to spend the money. So this was all for nothing. This was all for nothing because Bruno probably spent, I don't even think he spent hardly anything. He didn't spend it all. He bought a radio, a $300 radio. The one that was tall, cylinder. That's what he bought. He's still renting an upstairs. Get this, people. He was still renting an upstairs in a house. He didn't own the house, didn't buy the house, didn't go buy another house. He was still renting, in a second story. He had jobs. He got jobs. He didn't get nobody got anything from this. I always hope one day, all right, so one day they're going to take a wall out of a house somewhere in New Jersey, and it's going to be money, and it's going to be that money, and then it will be found, and whoever lived there, but anyway, that's just me. Yeah, and it absolutely no reason. It turned into no reason because they couldn't spend the money. So anyway, I adore you all, and I appreciate you sitting through. This was a big one. I know this was a long one. Sorry, this is a long one, but I appreciate you being here, and I'm so glad to do this for y'all. Next week we're gonna have. You know what? I did use the wrong foundation. The foundation shit's got me going on, right? I love you, Carrie, and I love every one of y'all, and I do thank y'all. And next Saturday, ancient Egyptian mysteries. So that'll be fun. And I will see. Oh, thank you, Rain Girl. Thank you. Um, I'll see y'all all soon. And I love you all. I love you all, the ones in the bushes, in the on the bleachers. I love you. I see you. I love you. All right, everybody. Stay safe. Have a good rest of the weekend. All right. I love you. Bye. Thank you, Mom.